Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and it's time for a Sunflower Fields video. This is part of my sketchbook challenge videos. I'm going to be working from page 104. Part of this video, the card specifically, is going to be on a playlist with a lot of other fun crafters. Sunflower and Bee challenge that some of our YouTube crafting friends have come up with. And so I decided to do a layout as well as the card that I'm showing in the other video. And this is the long version to show how to do all of the sunflowers that I put together for both the layout and the card. I hope you all enjoy seeing what I've put together. If you're new here, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button. I really do appreciate each and every one of my viewers that are already subscribers. Hit the thumbs up as well if you enjoy this video and like seeing the design that I've come up with based on one of our sketches from our Creative Memories 101 Sketches and Sketches and Idea Challenge book. So let's get into it. I hope you all enjoy this one. It's a bit more intricate and a bit more me, I guess, if you will, than some of my other designs. This one's definitely a little bit more. We'll put it that way. But it was fun to put together, and I hope you all get some ideas from it. So let's get to it. Here it is, page 104 from our sketchbook. So our sunflower layout is going to be loosely based on this sketch, but I always like to show what we're basing it on and my mat sizes that I'm going to be using. We're going to start with a sheet of our black shimmer cardstock, cutting the circles for the center of our sunflowers. You're going to need both your small and your medium circles from your custom cutting system circles, and I'm going to be using my red blade with both of them. And we're going to cut one from our medium, and we're going to cut 3 from our smaller. So let's get this done. All right, so there are our sunflower centers. We also need a few bumblebees punched from our black shimmer. So I have my bumblebee punch, and we're going to punch several of these for our layout as well. Okay, a couple of my bumblebees got a little bit close to the edge of the paper there and kind of together, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm just going to take that little excess off the top of the paper here, and I'll go along with my 12-inch trimmer and clean that up later. We also need some centers for our bumblebee bodies. Pull that out. Okay, let me set these aside first. Since I still have my mat out here, we're going to put our bumblebees over to the side for a moment, and we are going to cut some bodies for our bumblebees just to highlight the actual body. And where this piece of paper, we can use either side of it. You need your smallest custom cutting system oval, along with your blue blade. And I think I punched 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've punched 7 bumblebees, so I'm going to cut 7 ovals. Remember, our blue blade does cut the furthest from the template, so we do get these small ovals. Here we go. And I'll show you, we're just going to put these behind our bumblebee bodies with just a little bit of our repositionable tape. And you can use either side of this paper. We might do some with the lighter yellow and some with the darker, because both sides of this paper has a really nice yellow pattern on it. This is the sunflower paper, the golden sunflower paper. The back side has white dots on it. To make the petals for our sunflowers, we are also going to need our border maker system. And to use our border maker system, there's a tray that folds up from the underside, and then there's a top part with a magnet that holds our paper in place. You slide your paper into the tray, secure it with the magnet, and then fold it under so you can punch. Put away my 13 by 13 cutting mat because I need my punching placemat now instead, so I can easily pick up pieces. We are going to be punching with the Banner Border Maker cartridge first, and we need to do actually several of these, so we'll be needing to cut in between because this one is a punch out Border Maker cartridge, and I'll probably do some other layout with the negative just like I did for the virtual crop that one time, because I like the Art Deco-y look of this. And you're also going to want your pyramid keyhole Border Maker cartridge as well, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing with both of these in just a moment. When you punch, there's 2 notches on each of our Border Maker cartridges, and there's a notch on the piece that has the magnet in it. You're going to line up the notches both on the top part of the punch as well as on here, and you'll feel your punch slide in, and you just punch, move it lined up again, and there you go. These are the pieces that we're going to need for some of our petals. Pulling out my trimmer, we are going to, let's see, it looks like we have a 1/4 inch margin on the top. So let's work on adding a 1/4 of an inch at the bottom as well. So we're going to cut this at a 1/4 of an inch. Oops. There you go. So this will make a nice border on another one of our future pages as well. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and cut off where we have our ovals down here so I can punch both sides again with the banner. Here we go. I have punched 6 times now with the banner punch with the yellow sunflower paper. And now I need to switch to the pyramid keyhole Border Maker cartridge. And this one we just need to punch once. because we're just going to do the larger sunflower with it, and it is a different size punch. We now need to cut this at 2.5 inches. On our trimmers. We are going to line up actually at, because I need this at 2.5. So we are going to cut it at 2 3/4 from the top of the circle. So line this up at 2 3/4, and it's actually going to wind up at 2.5 once we're all said and done. So there's 2.5 inches. Set aside your other piece, and then what we're going to do is cut these apart. So going across on your trimmer, you want to line it up with the dotted line on the left of your cutting mat. This is where your straight blade will cut down. And you can also use, if you're uncertain, there's a line on the white pointed part of your blade housing, but we also have our cut guides that you can bring down from the top and bottom of your trimmer to make sure you're going in between right where the V comes down on the punch. And we're going to cut the entire sheet apart. Let me clean up some of this and get everything cut. And that was the end of that row. And now we're going to grab out our scissors and we're going to cut off the top part. Let me go ahead and grab my scrap here. We're going to cut off the top part of what we just punched of the keyhole. I'm going to show you, I'm just cutting it at the angle, following the line of the diagonal underneath the little circle. So we're cutting the little circle off of the top so our petal will look like this on our sunflowers. And do that for the entire row. I now have all of my pyramid keyhole with the circle cut off from the top. So these are my petals for my larger sunflower that we'll be putting together. And then I've pulled out my orange petal paper that has the orange plaid on the back, and we're going to be doing it all over again. We are going to punch one with the pyramid keyhole, and we're going to punch 4 times with the banner. I also wanted to show you all a photo I took last fall of a sunflower that inspired my color choices for this video of one of my neighbor's sunflowers here in Washington State. So as you can see, we have just this really beautiful layering with the yellow and the darker orange, and that's what we're going for with the sunflowers we're creating, is to do something a little bit along the lines of the one I took the photo of. So we're going to get it done. We just have a little bit more work to do to get it done. So I still have my pyramid keyhole in my border maker here. And I'm going to go ahead and punch one. And this paper looks like it's a little bit directional. I'm going to go ahead and turn it sideways with it looking like the petals are raining sideways, if you will. It almost looks like raindrops for our petals. And that's just part of what Create a Memory. Some of it's directional and some of it's not, so you do need to pay attention. So let me get this punched and I'll be back with you. Here is my orange petal sheet with my pyramid keyhole design on it. We are going to put this one at 2 3/4 inches as well, like we did with the last one. Go ahead and cut. And then we are going to cut this in half. So let me see what 6 inches looks like. Let me turn it upside down to make my life easier here. So 6 inches is pretty close to in between two of our keyholes here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this right here because we don't need as many for the interior of our sunflower as we do for the exterior. We are going to be layering these. So I want to just start with half because then I can use this piece for another project that I can give you an idea for in another video later on. So stay tuned for that. But for now, let's go ahead and cut in between on these and then go ahead and I'll take the circles off as well. I now have all the circles cut off my orange petals for my larger sunflower, and I'm going to switch over back to the banner punch so I can go ahead and punch 4 of these for my petals on my smaller sunflowers, also using the orange petal paper. And I will cut this again at the 1/4 inch mark, just like I did for the yellow color that we had as well. It's time to start putting all of our pieces together to get ready to do our layout and our card. So we're going to start with our bumblebees. I have pulled out my 12 by 12 silicone mat, so I have a nice surface to work on where I don't have to worry about my repositionable tape sticking to any of my pieces I don't want it to. If you don't have a silicone mat and you have parchment paper at home, you can easily put together a parchment board with electrical tape. So I actually looked for my old parchment board, if you remember my older videos, and I'm not sure where I put it. So it does work, and it's an easy way to use your repositionable tape as well. I'm just going to go ahead and start placing my ovals behind my bumblebee bodies here. You can see where it just adds that little extra detail and extra little pop to our bumblebees. Oops. All right, our bumblebees are done. You can see not all my bumblebees are punched out perfectly, and I guess that's okay in nature. I'm sure all of the bumblebees aren't perfect either. So I am just going to go with what I have. I just punched that 1 row of bumblebees, and then we did those oval cutouts using the same paper we used for our sunflowers. And you can see the difference just in the bodies that we get on our bumblebees. I am now ready to start on our larger sunflower, and I've gone ahead and I placed a little bit of repositionable tape on the bottom, just about a 1/2 inch portion of our petals here. I'm going to start by placing the orange ones on the inside here, and then we'll place the yellow ones going around outside, and I'm kind of putting them so they're a little bit higher and a little bit lower going around this interior, just slightly overlapped. And we'll see if we need to cut a few more or not as we go around. Okay, so the half sheet wasn't enough for our interior portion of our sunflower. Hoping we're going to have enough petals for the exterior as well. If you'll remember, we cut that one off at 6 inches, and it looks like we are going to need the other 6 inches to fill in. So we might actually need a second one of these for our yellow leaves that are going to go around the exterior. I actually think I need to bring these ones in just a little bit more so it'll fit onto our layout when we get to that point. Let me check this. This is the paper it's going to be going on. Yes, I have a feeling we are. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the other half of this, and then we'll see where we're at with this one. I apologize. It's one of those things where sometimes you just don't know how much you actually need until you try it out. I'm back, and I've done the other half of my orange petal paper, so that way we can finish off the other half of the petals for the interior of the sunflower. So if I can't space these out maybe a little bit more. Actually, probably should have done that in the first place, but that's okay. We'll get there. And that's why it's homemade, right? Sometimes it looks a little different on one side than on the other. Okay, I can actually put this a little bit over, so I'm gonna, take these 3 off. I'm gonna scoot these 2 over just a little bit. That's why we use repositionable tape, is because it is exactly what the name says, repositionable. We can maneuver it if we need to. Okay, there's our interior row of petals. I think I went a little tighter the second time around. I almost feel like I need to correct my beginning petals here a little bit, and I think I'm going to just scoot those in just a hair. Again, like I said, it's the nice thing about repositionable tape is you can do that. Just going to scoot the whole 1/5 of these in just a little bit, so that way my flower looks a little more balanced. I've got 3 over here that might also need to go a little bit in too. Okay, so let's move that over. Move that in and over just a hair. Okay. Let's see with my center here. Yep, we are looking pretty good here. All right, now we're ready for our yellow petals to go around the exterior here. And those we can space out just a little bit more because they're a little bit more of a highlight here. If you'll remember my picture. All right. Rebalance things here a little bit with a couple of our exterior ones. Just bring that in just a little bit. And angle it just ever so slightly differently. And bring this one in as well. Oops, let's take those off. Place those there. I'll bring these 2 in a little bit more as well. we go. Okay. All right. How's that for our sunflower? Not bad, huh? Not bad at all. We're going to add a little extra detail to the center of our sunflower here. I've grabbed out my journal pen. My friend Melanie over at Painting Crafty inspired me to do this. She was a part of our Flower Palooza playlist a couple weeks ago where I did the tulips. And if you want to check her video out, you can find the playlist linked on my tulip video. So here we are. We're going to take our journal pens and we are actually going to add a series of dots in the center of our sunflower here, just to add some extra texture and to make it look like we have a series of, you know, the little fluff that we saw in the picture from the seeds. So it doesn't have to be where the seeds are in the center, but it's going to look like we have just something a little extra going on. And I'm just creating a series of dots going through here, and as the ink dries, it's going to be really not super noticeable, but it's going to be there and we're going to know it's there, and we know we've taken this little extra attention to detail and added it to our center. Your eye isn't necessarily going to know what it is. It's just going to know that it likes it and that you took the time to put a little extra into your sunflower. And I can see my center is already drying. Okay, so I'll try to hold it up here. You can kind of see some of the dots I made. And then I will show you again as it dries, but we've got the shimmer and we've got our dots. And you can see now as it's drying, they're kind of it's just adding a little extra to our shimmer. And I thank you, Melanie, for inspiring me for that. Let's do some smaller sunflowers now. I'm all set up now to work on my smaller sunflowers that we are making with their banner punched pieces. And I estimated we would use 8 of these orange ones on the interior and 12 on the exterior. So let's try this first one and see if my estimates are going to be correct. Maybe if I space things out a little bit further, they will be. Okay. Just move it in a little. Oops. Well, I think I'm going to need at least one more. This is 8. And so here's coming on 9. All right. So we're probably going to have to punch one more of our orange ones. We'll see how I do with the yellow ones here. Like I said, I was estimating 12 for these exterior petals. Let's see how I do here. Well, looks like I was off on that one as well. Looks like I had 13 under here. And so it gives us a different look to our sunflower than what we had with our larger sunflower using our pyramid keyhole punch. I actually want this filled in a little more with the red. So we're going to add a few extra reds on the interior. I like the exterior part, but I feel like it doesn't look as sunflower-y as this one, and I want it to look more sunflower-y, so we're going to pull up our center and add in just a few more to fill it in. Let me get some repositionable tape on the back side now. All right, so that's 12, and I like it better filled in more. So I just added 4 more. Here we have 9. Actually, that's 13. So we have 13 and 13 here. And I think that definitely fills it in a little bit nicer. We're going to go ahead and do our dot trick again for the center here. I just love how the shimmer paper absorbs these dots. You could see it on the larger one as well. When I held it back up, you can kind of see that they're there, but you can't really, and it gives that little bit of extra depth with your eye without being super obvious. So right now these are still wet and you can see them. On the larger one, you have to look to find them. So just a little artsy trick, I guess, for you all today. I'm going to go ahead and get my other 2 smaller sunflowers put together. I am going to punch some extra of the orange petal flower, and I may need to punch one more of the yellow as well. I will let you know when I come back to you with the other 2 completed flowers. I have finished my 3 small sunflowers. You can see they all look different. That's part of being hand done. I did add my dots to the center of each of the 3. And I wound up using 14 of the orange banners and 15 of the yellow ones. I punched 3 additional orange banners and 2 additional yellow from what I had done earlier. So I do have a few extra pieces. I had 1 of the orange left and 4 of the yellow left that we'll use in another project as well. But I wanted to let you all know I'm sorry again about misjudging that a little bit. Sometimes I do my demo pieces where I kind of try to plot out what I want to make, but then I actually am making it when I'm filming it. So things change from time to time. I'm glad I was recording this one and I wasn't live. So just bear in mind, you will need to punch additional to what I mentioned earlier in the video. And here are your number of petals on each flower, and you can arrange them. I arrange them differently each time. This one is more of a spiral all the way around. This one is, I did put kind of almost 4 of the orange first, and then I spiraled a bit around, and then the back each of the 3 times I did spiral, and the first one you saw I did add those additional pieces in. All right, let's move on to putting our layout together now. Do y'all remember at the very beginning of the video where I showed you our inspiration sketch? Well, here it is again, and we are going to put together our 2-page layout with the sunflower paper as our base for both sides. The sunflower paper has the yellow stripes on the back of it, and I also took a sheet of the green plaid paper and I cut it. It has the other sunflowers, the darker background sunflower. I cut it with our new pinking blade. And when you cut things with your crinkly blades, you do need to take off a 1/4 of an inch or so in order to get things started, so that way your piece can have the effect on both sides. Well, we are going to use the 1/4 of an inch strip flipped over at the edge of our layout here. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of repositionable tape on here, and we are going to line this up with the left edge of our layout. It's one of those things that there's a little bit of darkness on the left side of the sketch in our piece that we're working from, and I thought it's a great way to use up a scrap as well. Now this piece is 3 inches. When you cut, remember you're going to cut this first piece where you're taking off this little end, and then you're going to flip your paper so that way you get a matched effect on both sides when you're cutting. Don't forget to do that. And we are going to set this over just a little bit from the edge here. I want to make sure I have space for my large sunflower to fit in nicely along with one of our mats. So let me get my spacing here. The mat is going to be on the right side of our page. This is one of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats, and that looks pretty good. That way our flower will still be on. It's not going to overlap our photo really at all. If you want it to overlap your photo, you can. In fact, I think I'm actually going to move this over just a hair bit more to the right so it's a little more centered with the black part of our sunflower. Oops. Oh, I didn't even press down and it was already sticking a bit. It's okay. So that's about 1 inch. Oops, let me straighten that out. About 1 inch I will measure. Just give me a moment here. I just want to double check and see if that's about where I want this. That looks better to me because it almost looks like it's a stem running down our page. Okay, so here it is. Yep, pretty much 1 inch. Make sure you're lined up at the top and bottom there. Okay. For this left side, I do have 3 mats. I have the Sunny Side of Life, which has the Sunny Side of Life on the back, but in an ombre. But we're going to use the sunflower side. And then I have 2 plaid mats, one with green and one with the orange and yellow. Back sides also have plaids in purple and yellow. First things first, let's get some tape on these, and then I'm going to grab my zero centering ruler to help me place this Sunny Side of Life mat first in the center because these other 2 are going to overlap it. And we do have a 12 by 12 page here, and if you have a 6.5 inch mat and then a 6 inch mat, you're going to wind up with a little bit of overlap. For our Sunny Side of Life mat, we are going to center it using our zero centering ruler. We need to line it up between the 2's because we want it right in the center, and our 0 falls right in the middle of our ruler, making it easy to center things on our scrapbook pages here. I am going to also put my orange one here at the bottom. So let's see how much we're going to overlap our other one. I think I'm just going to go about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the page. I am running directly along the right side of the page this time. So we're going to go 1/4 inch up from the bottom, which means it's going to be about 3/4 of an inch over. You see this bottom part, or about 1/2 inch over our mat here. And 1/4 of an inch down as well. Let me flip my ruler because with the way the lines are, I need to do it this way. Make sure I get that 1/4 of an inch exactly. And usually I eyeball it, but I just wanted to get a little more precision going here. So we have our right side of our page lined up nicely here. And now we are going to place our larger sunflower at the top here. Which this also is going to help us stick down some of the rest of the petals here a bit. We can pop this up on foam squares or foam tape as well, but it already is going to be such a large part of our page. I think it's going to draw enough attention that we don't necessarily need to pop it up this time. There we go. And so we're essentially creating a sunflower border. I have one of our bumblebees for the side of the page, and this bumblebee is going to be heading towards our large flower here. And we have our other 2 smaller sunflowers coming down as well. Again, just using the regular tape runner on it. It's a little tricky with all the overlap of the pieces here. And it's always a good idea to place the top and the bottom first. I mean, we're not exactly centering this, but it's nice to get the top and bottom first, and then you can kind of eyeball where you want your 3rd sunflower. And then we'll have our bumblebee just coming in. If you want, you can add a little bit of white paper behind the wings, but I'm just going to leave it open and transparent and let the bumblebee pick up what colors it wishes to on our page here. There we go. The left side of our page is done with our beautiful sunflower border and our bumblebee coming in. And the left side of the page on the sketch is pretty decorative as well. So I think we've honored that. They do have this flow through here as well. And now let's move on to the right side of the page. And this one is going to come together a little bit quicker. We have several of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats again, and one 4 by 6 mat. We're using this one as our journal box on our page with the sunflowers that kind of have the absence of color to them. We have 3 4.5 by 6.5 mats. We have the yellow plaid that has yellow dots on the back. We have the green plaid that has the purple diamonds on the back, and we have the orange dots that has a harlequin or diamonds on the back as well. Let me get some tape on these. And again, this one's going to go, well, actually, we're going to go first with this one. Grab my ruler here, just so I can get the placement again, about 1/4 of an inch up from the edge of our page here. And then this one is going to come down about 3/4 of an inch. Let's see here. Because this one is going to overlap it a bit here by about 1/4 of an inch on the top and the bottom, and that one's going to be lined up on the left side of the page. So let me scoot my ruler over and put it so I can get a 1/2 inch from the top, since we went 3/4 on the other side of the page here. There's my 1/2 inch. There we go. So everything is just nice and linear. That one's down, and this one is going to get placed about, let's go an inch, 3/4. Let's do the 3/4 as well. Let's place this one 3/4 of an inch as well from the bottom of the page, and again lining up with the left edge of the page here. And then we have 3 bumblebees left because there's going to be 3 on our card. So let's get these down on our page here. We'll just put them in a little bit of a zigzag pattern so it looks like they're flying and have a little motion on our page here. There we go. Here is the right side of our page. And I will bring out our left side again. So that way you can see our 2 pages together. On our inspiration sketch, they do have some smaller photos on it, and that's partially why I chose this journal box here, because you can still frame out 2 photos here with the green. And then you'll have larger photos on these 4 spaces and your journaling here. If you don't want the bumblebees here, you could put another photo in here. Up to you. But all in all, I feel like we've honored the sketch and we've honored the challenge of the sunflower and bumblebee. What do y'all think? Leave me a comment in the box below this video. Well, thank you for sticking with me this long. I'm going to show you how to make a really cute sunflower card now. And I think you're going to love this one just as much as you do the 2-page layout. For this card, you will need a blank card from our card kits, the sticker sheet from your Sunflower Fields collection. I picked out the I Love You Like a Sunflower Loves the Sun for the inside of our card. I just thought it was a really nice sentiment, and it goes along perfectly with what we're doing for this challenge and with this collection. So let's go ahead and stick that inside so I don't drop it out again. We're going to take the green paper, the green plaid paper, and cut it at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 to go on the base of our card. And this is a standard A2 card, so it fits in a regular sized envelope, regular sized postage, except for if you're going to mail the sunflower, you may need extra postage because it's kind of big. Or it's popped up a bit because of all the layers. Okay, so let's go ahead. I like to reinforce my cards a little bit more now with the repositionable tape at the edge that people are going to be opening it. That way I find that the paper doesn't flap when people are going to open their cards. go. And I use gravity a little bit to help me get the paper centered onto the card base. Well, then again, there we go. Okay, so you do want that to cover your card front. And then we have our sunflower. For this small sunflower, this is the one that we made with the banner punch. All right, this one, I don't actually want to stick down all the way yet. So let me set this on my mat for now. I have 3 bumblebees that I've punched, and I added in just that little bit of yellow paper that I showed you that had the sunflowers and the yellow dots on the back just into the body. That was the one we cut using the smallest oval. We're going to put a little bit of repositionable tape on them. We punched out our bumblebees with our black shimmer paper. I just love the idea of having them fly around our sunflower. I guess I will need to put it on the page here. I think I put the 2 lighter ones at the top. One going towards our flower and one away. There we go. Let me grab my multi-purpose tool. I kind of want the bumblebee, there we go, on the flower to be seen together a bit here. And then this one is going to be coming in from this bottom side here. And finally, with the parakeet shimmer, I cut a 1/4 inch by 3 inch stem for our sunflower, and we're going to wrap our stem with our wispy chain leaf, if you will. I just punched 1 chain segment from the wispy chain border maker cartridge, and then I took my scissors and I rounded off the ends just a little. So this is going to wrap around here this way, kind of coming up midway-ish on our stem here. We're going to tuck our stem underneath our sunflower, coming up here. Oops. So our stem is coming in through the center. Our chain should be wrapping around, not flopping off. Hang on. There we go. Sometimes you almost think you do need a 3rd finger or a 3rd hand a little bit when you're doing some of these. And there we go. So we have our chain coming in around from the side. Looks like my stem did not get all the way under my, there we go, my sunflower. And that's placed down on my card front. So there you have it. How's that for a fun sunflower and bumblebee challenge? Using the same technique we used in my scrapbooking layout. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you will hit the thumbs up. I hope you liked seeing my sunflower and my bumblebees going out to catch a little bit of sun. I think this is one of those cards that's one of our all occasion cards, or if you have a mom that really loves sunflowers, she might really love getting this card as well. Until next time.